Though the Vitamin Shop grew operating profit over 1,800% year over year, most still haven't fully grasped the results of its massive multi year turnaround plan yet. I'll get to my thoughts around that introduction a bit later in this video, but I did want to run through some of the basics of the 2021 quarter four earnings report and conference call that was released on February 23rd of 2022. For those unaware, the Vitamin Shop was acquired a few years ago by a publicly traded holding company named Franchise Group, which the stock ticker for that, if you wanted to follow it, is FRG. Franchise Group owns an assortment of retail assets, the Vitamin Shop being largest in terms of revenue and locations with just over 700 total locations. They also own Pet Supplies Plus, which is 550 store locations, American Freight, which is a mashup of furniture and warehouse, and the Sears Outlet name that has 320 locations. Buddy's Home Furnishings, which is a rent to own specialty furnishings retailer that has close to 300 locations. And then newly acquired in November, Badcock Home Furniture and More, that is 380 locations. And then another newly acquired name, Sylvan Learning, which is tutoring services, and that's about 700 locations. Being that the franchise group likes to make my life difficult by not necessarily breaking out a lot of the segment level financial details, this content will be softer on the financial numbers, but more focused on like actionable strategic information about the Vitamin Shop, which in the end is probably more valuable to you, anyways, right? But let's start at some of the financial data that they do provide. The Vitamin Shop's 2021 quarter four revenue was $274.6 million. That was up 7.6% year over year, but down 8.7% on a quarter over quarter sequential basis. The retailer finished 2021 at $1.17 billion, which was up 12.5% year over year. Same store comps for that entire 2021 operating year was a positive 14.4%, which was driven by the strong in store customer traffic, an increase in average transaction value, and the increased private label penetration, which we'll kind of talk about a little bit later. Digital sales made up 24% of the total revenue at the Vitamin Shop in 2021. That equates to about $281 million. Gross margin did increase just very slightly, 10 basis points year over year to 45.2%. Net profit in the quarter was $6.8 million, which was pretty light. But that being said, the entire 2021 had the Vitamin Shop record about $80.5 million in net income. So quite impressive. From a financial performance perspective, the Vitamin Shop had a great year in 2021. But before I shift this content into maybe some more deeper operating commentary, I did want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this content, Ghost Lifestyle. I've been a huge supporter of this sports and active nutrition brand since they initially launched in 2016. And they've also won my ultra coveted sports nutrition brand of the year the last 4 years in a row. Personal favorites of mine are the Sour Patch Kids Blue Raspberry Ghost Energy Drinks, Chips Ahoy Ghost Whey, and Bubblicious Legend Pre-Workout. You can grab yours at ghostlifestyle.com or through fine retailers like the Vitamin Shop. So I want to talk about franchising and kind of a store update for the Vitamin Shop. It has officially happened. The Vitamin Shop launched its first ever franchise store. The Greensboro, North Carolina store represents a historic milestone in the Vitamin Shop's 45-year history as the company embarks on a new franchising growth strategy. Under the terms of the franchise agreement, the partners will renovate the existing Greensboro store into the Vitamin Shop's updated innovation format, as well as open 3 additional stores by 2024 within the franchise territory in Greater Greensboro. 2 major points that I wanted to discuss a little bit more after reading that announcement a few weeks ago was one, I've been adamant that the Vitamin Shop would refranchise existing stores, not just open up new stores, and this finally confirms my 2019 prediction. Two, the Vitamin Shop will attempt to speed up the rollout of its new innovation store format that's been delayed from pre pandemic early 2020. They will also seek to pass off the cost to new franchisees when available. It's a smart move that likely came from the seasoned franchise operators at the top of the franchise group. Vitamin Shop ended the fourth quarter of 2021 with 711 stores overall in their system, which was down two from the previous quarter. While the down year over year store growth has been a mainstay trend over the last several years, the Vitamin Shop does currently have nine new franchise stores on the backlog list that are signed and currently in development. This will likely lead to 2022 being the first year since I think maybe 2016, 2017 that the Vitamin Shop will see year over year store location growth. Now, I also want to kind of quickly mention that the Vitamin Shop and CEO Sharon Lighty were featured on the CBS reality show Undercover Boss. If you didn't catch my commentary of that appearance, I'll make it easy for you and pop up that video link right here. And I'll also leave the link in this content's description. Now, mention a little bit around the private label penetration earlier in this content. So, want to kind of shift that conversation in that direction. And if you remember from a few months ago, I released my annual sports and active nutrition industry event predictions for the upcoming year of 2022. And if you haven't checked out that video yet, I will make it easy for you again and I'll kind of pop up that link. So I'm going to send you in all kind of different directions this video. And I'll also leave that one in the contents description as well. One of those industry event predictions that I had in that video surrounded the expected private label explosion at the Vitamin Shop. While private labels have long been offered at the Vitamin Shop, it's always been kind of best known as a place that sells other people's brands. With the Vitamin Shop's current shift in operating strategy to integrating franchise opportunities, my logic was that the retailer would ramp up private label creation and pull hard on the incentive levers to kind of make those work. We got the first indication that I was right on the money with this prediction by the Vitamin Shop launching True You, an innovative and extensive assortment of supplements that caters to the unique and evolving needs of women through every stage of their lives. According to the CEO, Sharon Lighty, she said, True You is one of the most significant brand launches in the Vitamin Shop's 45-year history. And here's kind of why I agree with that. It's been really the product, not the process, that's been important to the Vitamin Shop. They have historically done a lot of what I kind of call private label 1.0. This is where you basically create a generic version that aligns with the sales data of top sellers. This is old school and it really doesn't work all that well in consumable CPG unless you are kind of ratcheting down on the price savings element. True You feels like the best effort thus far of the Vitamin Shop creating something that lives successfully in private label 2.0 land. It doesn't just create a generic item based on sales data. It utilizes comprehensive brand development strategies that lean into a demand side innovation approach. It's more than product attributes. It's about actually bringing a strategic narrative that can create emotional connections with customers. This is what Target does, and it's what makes them, in my opinion, one of the top three best retailers at private label creation. If the Vitamin Shop can refine this strategic framework, they can unlock massive enterprise value. Now, the last kind of comments that I want to make here is around the franchise group's mergers and acquisitions activity. They've continued to be some of the most active deal makers in the market. While the three mergers and acquisitions deals that the franchise group has made in the last kind of quarterish time frame, they haven't really directly been value accretive to the Vitamin Shop. I wouldn't overlook the chances of something happening as the valuations come down and capital becomes tougher to acquire. So just want to end on some quick final thoughts. I know I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but it's time to really kind of wake up, people. Since the Vitamin Shop is shielded from kind of the public markets by the franchise group ownership, the supplement retailer's turnaround hasn't been kind of front and center, but overlooking it would be a huge mistake. They will have store growth for the first time in half a decade. They have a growing customer file for the first time in a half a decade. And they are positioned inside of a growing specialty CPG category. Fact is, 2022 is setting up very nicely for the Vitamin Shop. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. If you did, consider hitting the like button to support me. Also, help me get to my short term goal of 2,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. I'd love to see you join me on this journey, but we need to fix the fact that almost 80% of you that are watching this right now are not subscribed to my channel, and that makes me extremely sad. But just want to thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.